By popular demand, we are doing the Cy Young runner-up tier list since 2000. Last week's video was quite a hit. Everyone had a lot of strong opinions in the comments, which I appreciate. Once again, I'm keeping the same rules from last week, and if you didn't hear them last week, make sure you pay attention. If a person won a Cy Young, they're not going to be in today's video, meaning if Kershaw finished runner-up in one season, he won a bunch of other Cy Youngs, so I'm not going to talk about him today. This video is about the guys that got snubbed and never really got another chance. I'm also, once again, not including 2020 because those guys made 12 starts at most. I don't feel like it's worth talking about. Today's video is also brought to you by a new sponsor, Whatnot, and make sure you watch that ad at the 5-minute mark because there's a baseball related giveaway in the advertisement that you can enter for free. I'm doing just 4 tiers on today's list. At the top is the Snub Hall of Fame. It's mind-boggling that any of the guys that end up here never won a Cy Young. The second tier will be Cy Young caliber silver medal. These are guys that probably could have won in many other years and had a shot at beating the first place contender. Our third tier is nice season, but that's not a winner. Seasons that we can appreciate, but fully acknowledge that this is not really a Cy Young caliber season. And our last tier is he finished runner-up, which is a question I said multiple times when doing the research for this video. Let's not waste any more time and get right into it. The first entry on today's list is Tim Hudson of the Oakland Athletics in the 2000 season in the American League. Kind of similar to last week, we're starting off the list with one of the more underwhelming seasons on this entire list. With many of these early entries, a lot of the runner-up finishes are going to be guys that won 20 games, and that's exactly what Tim Hudson did, leading the American League. He set only a few career highs and didn't rank highly in any other major pitching categories, but what does stand out is how he pitched such an impressive season at a young age. He was only 24 years old in this year. Tim Hudson had a really nice career. He's hitting the Hall of Fame ballot, but honestly, I didn't even know that he finished runner-up in Cy Young voting one year, so he'll go in the bottom tier. Up next is another Oakland day. Back-to-back years they had a runner-up. This time it's Mark Mulder in 2001. This season is a lot more competitive by comparison, but it's still definitely a runner-up Cy Young season. Mulder is on a short list of pitchers to throw this many innings and have an ERA this low in a full season, and he stands out as a true workhorse on today's list. He's once again another one of these 20-game winners, leading the American League with 21 wins, but he also finished second in home run per 9 rate at an impressive 0.63 mark in the middle of the steroid era. However, I think the larger conversation is that the guy that should have won the award finished in 5th place, and that's Mike Mussina on the 2001 Yankees. He didn't get a single first place vote. In fact, the lion's share went to his teammate Roger Clemens, who he was undoubtedly better than. I apologize to Mark Mulder for making his section mostly about another pitcher, but I will give him some respect. That was a nice season. It's one of the better workhorse seasons in this era of baseball. It'll go a nice season, but that's not a winner. Our first entry into the Snub Hall of Fame is going to be Curt Schilling, and you're going to hear a lot about him on today's list. In both 2001 and 2002, Curt Schilling absolutely would have been your National League Cy Young if the Diamondbacks never signed Randy Johnson and he stayed in the American League. But that is not how history unfolded, and instead he ended up with just 2 first place votes between these 2 great seasons. In 2001, he led the National League in wins, and he placed second in ERA, wins above replacement, strikeouts, and walk per 9 rate. Can you guess who finished in first? He's one of just 15 pitchers in this century to finish with an 8-WAR season, and he did it twice in back-to-back years. In 2002, he led the National League in walks and hits per innings pitched and walk per 9 rate, and finished second in wins above replacement, innings pitched, and strikeout per 9 rate. While I fully acknowledge that Curt Schilling isn't the kindest to the media and doesn't have the greatest of opinions, there's no doubt that he belongs in the Snub Hall of Fame. It's pretty wild that Curt Schilling never won a Cy Young. It's one of the crazier baseball fun facts you can share with your friends. Our next entry is one of my favorites on this list. It's Esteban Loaiza for the Chicago White Sox in 2003. I did a whole video on this guy's season and his whole career because it's just so weird. Of all the outlier seasons on this list, this one might be the most outlierist of all. Loaiza finished top 5 or better in strikeout per 9 rate, ERA, WAR, and WHIP in this season, and he managed to put up 7 WAR in this season, which accounts for a third of his entire 15-year career's worth of value. He's one of just 25 pitchers this century to throw this many innings, strike out over 200 batters, and have an ERA that was 50% better than league average. But unfortunately, he ran into the prime of Roy Halladay on the Toronto Blue Jays, and this one was kind of a no contest. Loaiza's greatest claim to fame from this season was starting the All-Star game in Chicago in front of White Sox fans. I'm going to give him a Cy Young caliber silver medal because these numbers are genuinely impressive. There's a lot of other winners on this list that we'll get into that don't match Loaiza's stats at all. Before we get to the next entry in today's video though, I gotta thank Whatnot for sponsoring today's video, and there's a special giveaway in this week's upload. Today's sponsor Whatnot has hooked me up with $500 to spend on their awesome app, and whatever I win, I can give away to you guys. Whatnot is a live stream auctioning platform where you can buy and sell pretty much anything you can think of. And they've got all sorts of memorabilia, whether it's autographed jerseys, signed and authenticated baseballs, baseball cards. My best get of all, though, wasn't a baseball card. It was this signed and authenticated baseball from none other than two-time Cy Young winner Jacob deGrom, which I felt was a fitting prize for the topic of today's video. But this isn't for me, it's for one of you, and here's how you can get your hands on it. Drop your Whatnot username in the comment section down below, along with your favorite Cy Young winner of all time, and I'll be picking one user at random. The winner will be announced in next week's upload, where a new prize will be announced as well, all thanks to Whatnot. So if you haven't already, sign up for Whatnot today. Use the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen right now for $15 off your first order on Whatnot. Thank you so much to Whatnot for this extremely cool offer. I'm so happy to partner with a brand that allows me to interact with my audience. And now let's get back to today's video. Up next is Jason Schmidt of the San Francisco Giants in 2003 in the National League. Schmidt's season was incredibly solid. He led the National League in ERA and WHIP, finished second in hit per 9 rate, and third in strikeout to walk ratio. He's one of just 12 pitchers this century to throw this many innings and have an ERA 80% better than league average. And the weirdest part of all is that he lost to a reliever, Eric Gagne, who swept the nation with his unbelievable perfect save season. Gagne was unbelievable. We know about his steroid usage now, but it doesn't change the fact that he was a truly sensational closer this season. But better closer seasons happened before and after this one, so I don't know. I'm still kind of grappling with this. I think for now I'm going to put him in Cy Young caliber silver medal. The 2003 runner-ups are definitely a weird class. Up next is a familiar face. It's once again Curt Schilling, this time for the 2004 Red Sox. After old man Schilling was sent away from the Arizona Diamondbacks, he put up one of the best veteran pitching seasons in baseball history. He's one of just 4 pitchers in the expansion era to be age 37 or older and put up a 7-WAR season. Not only that, it was one of his most efficient strike throwing seasons. He's one of 16 pitchers in this same era with this many innings pitched and a strikeout to walk ratio of 5.5. He also did that in his other 2 runner-up seasons as well. However, he ran into prime Johan Santana, who wasn't relinquishing this American League Cy Young award. No doubt in my mind that Curt Schilling was integral to the 2004 Red Sox breaking the curse, and he's going to go on my second tier Cy Young caliber silver medal. Up next, we have our first reliever runner-up, and that's Mariano Rivera for the 2005 Yankees in the American League. The 2005 Cy Young conversation in the American League is very interesting because this one went to Bartolo Colon, who had kind of a fine season at best. But I also don't think Mariano Rivera is that interesting as a runner-up. Sure, 4-WAR as a reliever is very impressive, and this is one of his better seasons, setting a career best 1.38 ERA with the second most saves in the American League. He had an ERA plus over 300 in this season, and he's the only pitcher to do so twice while pitching at least 70 innings. But I'm pretty sure you guys know where this is going. This award absolutely belonged to Johan Santana, and it would have given him 3 in a row in the American League. He led the American League in basically every major pitching category and somehow finished in 3rd place. So yeah, no disrespect to Mo, but honestly, he shouldn't have even finished second. I'm going to put him in. He finished runner-up, and it's kind of a no-brainer. Sorry, Yankees fans. Up next is one of the most interesting seasons on this entire list. It's 2005 Dontrelle Willis for the Florida Marlins. Dontrelle is a favorite in many baseball fans' hearts who got to watch him pitch, and this was easily his best season. He led the National League in wins, complete games, shutouts, home run per 9 rate, and finished second in wins above replacement and third in ERA+. He was a true workhorse this season, throwing over 230 innings, a truly Herculean effort. He's one of just 6 pitchers in this century to have a home run per 9 rate of 0.5 or lower and pitch this many innings. And he's one of just 9 southpaws this century with a 7-WAR season. This is truly one of the best left-handed pitching seasons of this century. And sized up against Chris Carpenter, I honestly think I would pick Dontrelle in a race. It makes sense why the first place votes were almost split evenly here. I think Dontrelle got hurt because he's not a big strikeout pitcher, but he had the innings, he had the wins, and he had the WAR, so I think maybe he should have finished in first place. I consider those numbers easily Cy Young caliber, and also I'm a big Dontrelle Willis fan, so I'm going to put him in the Snub Hall of Fame. Let me know if you disagree. All right, we're going to follow that tightly contested one with a really funny one, and that's Chien-Ming Wang in 2006 for the Yankees. Did anyone else forget that Chien-Ming Wang finished runner-up in Cy Young voting? I didn't, because I did a video on this, and Chien-Ming Wang and his bowling ball sinker had a great season this year. He led the American League in wins, ground ball rate, and home run per 9 rate, and finished second overall in wins above replacement. But there's no way you can win when you never strike out batters, and Chien-Ming Wang had one of the lowest strikeout totals over a full season in baseball history. He's one of just 18 pitchers this century with over 200 innings and under 100 strikeouts in a season. But yeah, the Writers Association probably felt bad for what they did to Johan in 2005 and rightfully gave him a unanimous win in 2006. As for Chien-Ming Wang, he's going to land in our bottom tier because I think it's a real funny footnote in Cy Young voting history. Up next is the second best reliever of all time and the second reliever on our list, and that's Trevor Hoffman for the 2006 Padres. This wasn't the only time that Trevor Trevor Hoffman finished runner-up in Cy Young voting. He did so in 1998 with a much better season in my opinion, 4 WAR, 53 saves, and a 10.6 K/9 rate. Hoffman did lead the National League in saves, but he only had the 9th best ERA of pitchers with at least 60 innings. It was a truly impressive veteran season from Hoffman at age 38, but in comparison to Brandon Webb, it's a no contest. The voting for this was pretty bizarre. Chris Carpenter finished in 3rd place with the best whip in the league. Roy Oswalt finished in 4th place with the best ERA. I'm not sure why Trevor Hoffman got 12 first place votes and made this incredibly close. So yeah, Trevor Hoffman's gonna go in our bottom tier as well. I know I'm being a little hard on the relievers, but come on. Up next is Josh Beckett for the 2007 Red Sox in the American League. This is another tightly contested one, and Beckett definitely had an argument to win the award in this year. He led the American League in wins above replacement, wins themselves, fielding independent pitching, and he was 3rd overall in strikeout to walk ratio. Beckett had a really well-rounded season and one of the best of his career, but it didn't really stand out among a pretty deep American League class. Whereas CC absolutely blew everyone out of the water with his innings pitched total at 241. This was a really nice season by Josh Beckett. Could it have been a winner? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna put it in a nice season, but not a winner. Up next is another hard luck loser, and that's Adam Wainwright in both 2010 and 2013. I mentioned before that it's a pretty interesting baseball fun fact that Curt Schilling never won a Cy Young, and I think you could say the same for Adam Wainwright. Waino's 2 best seasons of his career were blocked by some of the best seasons of Roy Halladay and Clayton Kershaw's career. In 2010, he was top 4 or better for ERA, whip, innings pitched, wins above replacement, and walk per 9 rate. And that season, he became one of just 13 pitchers this century with that many innings pitched and an ERA that was 60% better than league average. In 2013, he upped the ante by leading the league in wins and innings pitched and finishing 2nd in strikeout to walk ratio and walk per 9 rate. And that year, he became one of just 8 pitchers in the entire expansion era with over 240 innings pitched and a 6.0 strikeout to walk ratio. Unfortunately, he was only able to garner 1 first place vote between these seasons because Clayton Kershaw and Roy Halladay were so damn good. No one was beating an 8 WAR season with over 250 innings from Roy Halladay, and no one was beating Clayton Kershaw when he had a sub-2 ERA and led the league in strikeouts and whip. This is another easy snub Hall of Fame for me. Waino should have got a Cy Young, man. It stinks what happened to him. Our next entry is also another hard luck loser, and that's Jered Weaver in 2011 for the Angels in the American League. Weaver ranked 2nd or 3rd in basically every major pitching category in the American League. ERA, WAR, whip, wins, hit per 9. Justin Verlander just managed to edge him out every time. This was his best shot. He set career best in every major category, and he's one of just 22 pitchers this century with this many innings pitched and an ERA 50% better than league average. But this was the middle of prime Verlander on the Detroit Tigers, so Jered Weaver didn't stand a chance and he got no first place votes. This for me is a Cy Young caliber silver medal for sure. Up next is Yu Darvish's sophomore season with the Texas Rangers in 2013 in the American League. This was easily Darvish's best chance to get a Cy Young. He led the American League in strikeouts, hit per 9 rate, and strikeout per 9 rate, and he's one of just 11 pitchers this century with this many strikeouts in a season. But while Justin Verlander began his brief decline, Max Scherzer was ascending to Cy Young status, and this one was his to lose. You can look at some of Scherzer's numbers and notice that they're not better than some of the other runner-ups on this list, but he definitely deserved to win this year. Darvish was a tough luck loser, and those strikeout numbers are absolutely absurd, so I'm actually going to give him the Cy Young caliber silver medal nod here. Our next entry is Johnny Cueto for the 2014 Reds in the National League. Poor Johnny Cueto, man. He led the National League in hit per 9 rate, innings pitched, and strikeouts, and he finished 2nd in wins above replacement, ERA, and whip, only behind stinking Clayton Kershaw once again. Johnny Cueto was an absolute dog in 2014. He's one of just 4 pitchers this century with over 200 innings and a whip below 1, and he's one of just 6 pitchers this century with this many innings pitched and an ERA 60% or better than league average. This is a Cy Young winner in so many of the other seasons that we've talked about, but when you're going up against Clayton Kershaw and his 1.77 ERA, you don't really stand a chance, and that's why he got no first place votes. Can't call this one a snub, so this one's also going to go in Cy Young caliber silver medal. This tier is getting crowded. Up next, we have Jon Lester for the 2016 Chicago Cubs in the National League. This season definitely got some attention because the Cubs' rotation as a whole was so good, it led to them winning the World Series that year. Lester ranked top 4 or better for ERA, whip, hit per 9 rate, and WAR in the National League. And while this is one of the better left-handed seasons of this century, I do think that Jon Lester and the rest of his rotation mates kind of fall in a similar category for me. The rightful winner this season was absolutely Max Scherzer, who led in WAR, wins, innings pitched, and strikeouts. But I honestly think Kyle Hendricks deserved a little more love here. He won the ERA title this year and finished 2nd in whip, but he did finish behind Lester, and I thought his season season was a little more impressive. Lester's season was definitely still great though, one of the best of his career. That's a nice season, but not a winner. Up next is 2019 Hyun-Jin Ryu for the Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League. This is where you're going to start to see the innings totals in these entries start to take a noticeable dip. And while Ryu only tossed 180 innings this year, he led the National League in ERA and walk per nine rate and finished second in home run per nine rate. He was an efficient strike thrower that kept the ball in the ballpark and was easily the best pitcher on his team that year. Him, Cliff Lee, and David Wells are the only three lefties this century with over 180 innings and a walk per nine rate that low in a full season. Could this have been a Cy Young winner in some other seasons? Maybe. He got a first place vote, he won the ERA title, and his rates were pretty impressive across the board. For now, I'm going to put him in nice season, but that's not a winner. I might move him up, but that tier is also pretty crowded, and some of those seasons I definitely view as a step above Ryu in 2019. But coming up next is the only guy that I'm placing on a similar pedestal to those Curt Schilling seasons, and that's Zack Greinke. This dude has been snubbed twice now. 2021 Wheeler is definitely the more egregious case of the two. He led the National League in wins above replacement, strikeouts, innings pitched, complete games, shutouts, and ranked second in home run per nine rate. He threw 45 more innings than the winner, Corbin Burns, and accumulated over 2.0 wins above replacement above him. This is the only entrant on this list where the first place votes are evenly split, and in retrospect, Zack Wheeler absolutely got shafted here. Worse yet, it kind of happened again last year. He definitely had a winning case, leading the National League in WHIP and ranking second in ERA and strikeouts. He was one of just 16 pitchers this century with over 200 innings and a WHIP that good. But when Chris Sale barely edged him out in WAR and ERA, I think the writers knew it was finally time to give this future Hall of Famer his first Cy Young. Zack Wheeler, congratulations. You have been inducted into the Snub Hall of Fame. Hopefully you get one soon, man. Our next entry is maybe our weirdest entry, and that's 2022 Dylan Cease for the Chicago White Sox in the American League. Cease led the American League in wins above replacement, ranked second in ERA and hit per nine rate, and third in strikeout per nine rate, but he also led Major League Baseball in walks issued. He made this work because his strikeout potential was so great. He's one of just 7 pitchers in the expansion era with a strikeout per nine rate above 11 and an ERA 80% or better than league average. But when Justin Verlander finished with a 1.75 ERA and a 0.83 WHIP, it was kind of a no contest. So while this was a great season by Dylan Cease, I don't really think it's a winner. Dylan Cease also kicks off a trend with our final 5 entrants where they have one first place vote between them, so the rest of these are going to be kind of washes. Sorry guys. Coming up next is Max Fried in 2022 for the Atlanta Braves in the National League, and this was Sandy Alcantara's Cy Young to lose, unfortunately. Fried finished second in the National League for wins above replacement and walk per nine rate, and top 3 for ERA and strikeout to walk ratio, but Sandy Alcantara just ran away with this thing. More innings than everybody else, a lower ERA than pretty much anyone, and easily the most WAR. While Fried set a bunch of career bests and had one of the better southpaw seasons of this century, he was never getting this Cy Young. Max Fried, you pitched a nice season in 2022, but that is not a winner. Up next is Sonny Gray in 2023 for the Minnesota Twins in the American League, and this is a similar nice season, but not a winner. Gray led the American League in home run per nine rate and fielding independent pitching. He finished second in wins above replacement and ERA, but Garrett Cole swept the board this year. It was his Cy Young to lose. While Gray had one of the better seasons at keeping the ball in the ballpark this century, his numbers don't really stand out. This is a pretty great season from him, probably the best of his career, but otherwise not really a winner in my mind. This is going to be another easy ranking as our third tier continues to get larger. And because our third tier has become a little bit more crowded, I'm going to move 2019 Hyun-Jin Ryu up. Our last National League entry will be Logan Webb for the 2023 Giants. Webb only got 1 vote, but definitely had a compelling case by leading the National League in innings pitched, walk per nine rate, and strikeout to walk ratio. Blake Snell was pretty dominant, but he also led the league in walks. When you look at the numbers, it's hard to take this one away from Blake Snell. Webb is one of just 15 pitchers this century with this many innings pitched and a 6.0 strikeout to walk ratio, which is very impressive. He definitely gets hurt because as a sinker baller, he's not going to rack up those strikeouts, and Blake Snell got a ton of punch outs that year. This is a nice season, but not a winner by comparison. Our final entry is Seth Lugo for the 2024 Royals in the American League, and even now, I'm still shocked that he finished runner-up. No offense to Seth. He finished top 3 or better for home run per nine rate, WAR, and innings pitched. He was definitely a horse for these Royals, and they got him on a great contract, but this was not a Cy Young caliber season by any means. I honestly think that Logan Gilbert got pretty snubbed in voting this year. He led the American League in innings and WHIP and was top 3 or better in strikeouts, strikeout to walk ratio, and hit per nine rate, but he ended up in 6th place in voting. As for Seth Lugo, it was a breakout for him, emerging as a true major league caliber ace, but honestly, I think he's going to go in the bottom tier. I know that might be being a little bit tough on him, but this season is just not of the same caliber as those above it. And you know what? At the very end of my list here today, I've come up with a great idea. I don't mean to continue ragdolling Hyun-Jin Ryu around, but I had some trouble putting him up there with the second tier initially. He landed in the third tier, then I moved him up. I think he's a perfect mid-tier guy, so that's where I'm going to put him. 2019 Hyun-Jin Ryu will be our mid-tier in this episode. Comment down below. Do you agree with my choice there? I think it's a good one. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy tier list content, let me know an idea that you want to see me do next, and maybe I'll do it. Who knows? Leave a like on the video, and please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to hit 200K by the end of the year. Could really use your help, so thanks. That'll do it for me, though, and I'll see you guys next time.